right, we got Cowboys Commanders. We can pick the game if you want, whatever, 8 o'clock. But I think what's more interesting, RJ Choppy, end of the season, now stacking up the entire NFC East.
All right, so coach, GM, quarterback, ownership.
Okay.
Those are 4 categories. So we can rank these. You get 4 points for the number 1, and you get 1 point for being number 4, and then you guys can fill in the blank on what happens with number 2 and number 3.
So it's coach, GM, quarterback, and what?
Owner.
Coach, GM, quarterback, ownership.
Okay.
Love it. Love it.
So let's try and see where the Cowboys stack up in the NFC East.
Okay.
Ownership. You got Jerry, you got Lurie, you got Josh, and you got Mara.
You're not top 2.
No.
I'm going to put Josh and Lurie 1, 2. Oh, I guess we have to decide for the point system. Who's the best owner in the East, Bobby? I guess right now I'll say Lurie.
I agree. I think we have it all. I think you and I have it the same. I've got Philly.
So that means we have to give Philly 4 points?
Yeah.
Okay.
Philly and then Washington, and dead last to me is Mara.
Okay. I'll agree with that. So the Cowboys get 2 points. Cowboys have the 3rd best ownership, we'll say, in the division.
Okay. I have Mara 4, Josh 3rd. I have Jerry 1st. Jerry's the best owner in the division. He's the worst GM, but he's the best owner.
The owner would be in charge of
the GM,
hiring the GM. So that would automatically.
Ownership to me is you're in charge of everything.
Why is he the best owner?
I mean, Jerry Stills, the buck stops with him on everything. So he answers for all that.
Yeah, but don't listen to what Jerry says.
I mean, do you think that there's anything that doesn't end with Jerry's decision?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that don't end with Jerry's decision. Maybe not for the coach.
So why do you think he's the best owner?
I mean, they've the most consistent team for 20 years, right? There's nobody has been a more consistent, successful team for 20 years.
Okay.
They also, I mean, look, ownership is money is part of the ownership. Brand is a part of the ownership.
No doubt, no doubt.
So, I mean, like he's going to be probably the worst GM of the bunch.
Okay.
All right, but I'm separating the two.
Do we definitively say they've been better over 20 years than the Eagles?
Philly?
I don't think so.
Well, Philadelphia has had rebuilds. Cowboys haven't had rebuilds.
The Eagles have finished with fewer than 7 wins twice in 20 years.
And the only time the Cowboys have done it is when their quarterback's gotten hurt.
But
and the
they
Cowboys
have a
have been to
title.
they've won a Super Bowl and they've lost a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but that's 2 years. I like for 20 years. I'm going back to 04 here.
All right, they're his own ratings. Go ahead.
All right, next one. Coaching. You got Sirianni, you got Quinn, you got McCarthy, you got Daboll.
Well, I have to put Daboll last.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear Bobby's 1, 2, 3 here. God, I can't give that douche the top credit in Philadelphia.
Number 4 is Dallas. Just kidding. Relax.
Are you going D?
I'm going Dan Quinn's number 1.
Oh.
I don't think that's controversial.
I don't think so either.
I think Dan Quinn's number 1. Sirianni 2. McCarthy, Daboll.
McCarthy's 3rd for you. Dan Quinn is 1 for me. Mike McCarthy is 2 for me. Sirianni is 3 for me, just because I believe like McCarthy would have a more consistent culture than Sirianni. Sirianni may be a better X's and O's coach. I don't really know. I don't know, but it's a roller coaster, like separations, Big Dom, all that stuff. So Sirianni to me, I know it sounds crazy. I have him as number 3 in the division.
I changed my mind. I'm with you. I'll put McCarthy 2.
McCarthy, I put him as the 2nd best coach behind Dan Quinn. What's Siri think?
Yeah, Siri. I don't know what Siri wanted to think there. You guys are nuts. Sirianni's easily the best coach. I'm
not going to insult it. I mean, his run of success, but you're putting aside the Eagles' success for the owner argument, but you're not doing it for the coach. Like
it's a smaller window. It's 3 years.
Okay.
I think Dan Quinn's a boob. I can't stand Dwayne. I'm so glad the Cowboys didn't hire him.
What?
I think he's an absolute boob.
Why?
I don't.
That feels like a take to have a take. I don't understand
because he has a backwards hat, cowherd.
I mean, look. First, the head coach he dresses like a moron. He's not CEO-y, but like he was a disaster in Atlanta.
A disaster. He should have won the Super Bowl.
Should have won the. And then what happened after that? They were a train wreck every year.
Okay.
I mean, they hung on too long there.
What about this first year here?
Great, because he got a quarterback.
Okay, well, he had a Hall of Fame in your mind guy in Matt Ryan.
Yeah, and they did well.
Okay.
And then the moment that Matt started his decline, Dan Quinn wasn't good enough to get him out of it.
All right, so what are your ratings? Dan's the worst?
No. Dayball's the worst.
Okay.
Then Dan, then Mike, and then Sirianni by a milli. Sirianni by more than what Texas should have beat Arizona State by.
Okay. And what besides Sirianni, or you just point to the records?
With Sirianni?
Yeah. What do you like?
Oh, I love his attitude. I love the culture I do love his culture.
Okay.
I love it. I love toxic.
I was going to say.
Yeah, I love
that's
that.
what that is.
Yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that. It's got such like bad boy Piston vibes. I love it.
Oh, my. NFC East rankings, the RJ choppy scale, as only Ralph can do here on the Expressway.
Yeah, but Rick Mahorn didn't foul Bill Lambier like all the time. Like that's where that's different.
Yeah, no, you're right.
All right.
General manager, you got Howie, you got Adam Peters in Washington, you got Jerry, and you got Joe Shane.
Howie's 1, Peters is 2. Again, this is very convenient to do after a first-year playoff thing, but I've heard plenty from the DC people about Peters. Jerry is 3, and Shane is 4.
I got the same, except flip Howie, that fraud, and make Adam Peters the number 1 GM in the division.
Why?
Because I believe in general the San Francisco team building philosophy and how it's worked out, and Peters comes from that, and it's already clicking into place in Washington. Whereas Howie, I think, makes so many different volumes of moves. Everybody was like, "Oh, Howie, that madman, he's done it again." And then when you go back and look back, about half the things that people are bitching about when Howie does them is like, "Why couldn't we do that?" They blow up in his face.
The Chris Ballard of the NFC.
They keep going forward.
Howie's best trait is that he will recognize an error and move on from it immediately. Mm-hmm. Like he did with Wentz, right? He recognized that there was a bad sign and moved on from it. I have the same as Sean. I got Philly 1, Washington 2, then the Cowboys and the Giants.
Ooh, I'm surprised that with the Cowboys' success and record and regular season wins, you have Jerry that low.
I don't like their team building philosophy. It's going to sound crazy. Their team building philosophy is just find the best player. Right? I just want good players. That's a great way to get to the postseason. It's a terrible way to try to win in a salary cap era because you've got to find players at positions that matter, right? And it doesn't matter whether the player's good at defensive tackle. It doesn't matter how good they are. Just find a league average guy, you'll be fine. So I don't care for their team building philosophy, even though they make the playoffs. And now you got quarterback. You got Hurts, Daniels, Dak, and Daniel Jones.
Well, Daniel Jones isn't even on their roster.
Well, true, but I don't know who else they had. They Drew Lock,
whoever the number 1 pick is.
Whoever the number, yeah.
The Giants are last.
Do that. Do pick, yeah.
I mean, you don't have to put the Giants last.
Yeah,
you could say they're going to have Cam Ward or Shador
last.
Okay,
all right. So you're putting the Giants last.
Oh gosh, who wants to go first? This is painful.
Dallas goes first.
Dallas has the best quarterback.
Yeah. It's for me, it's Dallas, Washington, Philly, Giants. Jaden Daniels is better than I thought he was going to be.
Yes, he is. The issue is that Washington has the cheat code right now. They're the only one in the division that has the cheat code. The Giants are about to have it.
The rookie contract.
And that is the rookie contract quarterback. That's an NFL cheat code.
Yeah, Daniel Jones was such a cheat code for the Giants. Like, I mean, if you're good,
they went to the playoffs. Like he's bad. And he was cheap enough that they still went to the postseason. Like, that's the cheat code, right? That's the cheat code that you're looking for.
They never were a contender, though.
They were never a contender, but like I'm saying is he was so cheap that you were able to get a good enough roster around him to make the playoffs.
What's your quarterback order?
I would put it as Philly, Washington, Dallas, and the Giants.
Oh, I like it. I will go Giants, worst situation. The second worst situation is Philadelphia. Then Jaden, second. Dak 1 until he completely falls apart physically. So I'm going to go Dak, the best quarterback in the division. Watch the fan text blow up off this. 877-881-1053.
By the way, this is even though Dak is number 1 in the division, that is definitely up for debate heading into next year, where you don't know how he's going to bounce back health-wise. Like if he gets hurt again, now you're talking about he's broken.
With my ratings, the Washington Commanders have the best situation in the NFC East. The Eagles have the second best. The Cowboys have the third best. And then the Giants are dead last in every single category. So it goes 13, 12, 11, and then 4 for me in my rankings. And I can't believe I somehow didn't have Philly come out on top of everything. 13, 12, 11, 4, Washington, Philly, Dallas, the Giants.
I got Washington with 14 points, Philly and Dallas tied with 11, and then the Giants with 4.
I have Philly with 15 running away. Cowboys with 11, Washington with 10, and then the Giants with, I guess, 4. They're so bad.
We all had 4. And they're the Pittsburgh,
I know,
Green Bay model.
I know.
The family.
They are.
The consistency.
They try to be
not
it.
flash.
They've screwed it up. And this is where, like,
they're supposed to be the definition of stable.
The Giants back in like the late 70s. Pete Rozelle went up and said, "Fix your franchise. Like, your franchise sucks. We need New York to be good." And they went and they hired George Young and they hired Bill Parcells. I don't see Goodell doing the same thing that Rozelle used to do to all the franchises. Fix your franchise. Roger doesn't do that. He doesn't care.
Tolo Chris said, no one in the National Football League. I'm glad you borrowed that point from me from a couple months ago.
Did you say that?
No, yeah, because Lombardi said that. I relayed it from the GM Shuffle. No one in the National Football League would take this. Tolo Chris, Sean and Bobby, terrible opinions from Barkley. No one in the NFL would take Dak over Daniels for now or the next few years. Look, I'm not.
It's the contract.
I'm not worried about the contract. I'm just trying to decide like next year if healthy. Obviously, for the future, I'm taking Jaden. And if you want to take Jaden next year, I'm not going to fight you on that. I don't feel great about my quarterback rankings. And you can make an argument for Hurts as well. The Hurts thing is just going back and forth on whether he can throw it well enough for me.
The thing with Jaden is, C.J. Stroud did have a little bit of a slump this year, sophomore slump.
Yeah.
A significant one.
Like, it's totally plausible that happens to Jaden next year.
Of course.
And the league adjusts, and now it's on you to adjust. This is going to happen to every player that isn't like Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Right? You're just going to have...
And Joey Gallo's career.
Although Patrick Mahomes was not great this year either. Missed out on the Pro Bowl.